Hello and welcome. Today we're taking a fascinating journey to one of the world's smallest yet most extraordinary countries, Singapore. Don't let its size fool you. This tiny island city-state is bursting with geographic marvels that most people never notice. From man-made land and lush rainforests to towering skylines and deep blue seas, Singapore is a place where nature, innovation, and determination meet. In this video, we'll uncover 15 incredibly interesting geography facts that reveal how this island grew from a small trading post into a modern powerhouse. A country that literally reshaped its own land, conquered space limitations, and turned challenges into opportunities. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this journey through Singapore, a nation that proves you don't need a lot of land to make a big mark on the world. 1. Tiny land. Big location. Singapore may look tiny on the map, but its location gives it a power few countries can match. Perched at the very southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, just 137 kilometers north of the equator, Singapore is a natural gateway between east and west. Its diamond-shaped main island and more than 60 smaller islets rest along one of the busiest maritime crossroads in the world, where ships from the Indian Ocean enter the South China Sea. This position transformed Singapore into a global trading hub long before modern times, attracting merchants from China, India, Arabia, and Europe. Even today, thousands of vessels pass through its ports each year, carrying goods that fuel international commerce. Yet this same advantage comes with challenges. Being low-lying and coastal makes Singapore vulnerable to rising sea levels and tropical storms. Its geography, once a gift for trade, now demands careful environmental planning and innovation. 2. One main island. Plus or many islets. Most people picture Singapore as a single compact city, but in reality, it's an archipelago of over 60 islands scattered around its main diamond-shaped landmass. These islands vary in size and purpose, from the bustling Sentosa Island, known for its beaches and resorts, to industrial ones like Jurong Island, where vital petrochemical industries thrive. Others, such as Pulau Ubin and St. John's Island, preserve glimpses of old rural life and untouched nature, offering a quieter side of Singapore's story. Many smaller islets remain uninhabited, serving as ecological sanctuaries for marine and bird life. This cluster of islands gives Singapore a surprisingly long coastline for its size, increasing both opportunities and responsibilities. Managing this web of islands requires balancing urban expansion, tourism, and environmental protection. Each island adds a new layer of complexity to land use planning, a constant challenge for a nation where every square meter counts. 3. Land reclamation, making more land. Singapore's geography tells a story of human ingenuity, a country literally building itself larger. Since independence in 1965, Singapore has increased its total land area by nearly 25% through an ambitious program of land reclamation. This process involves adding sand and earth to shallow coastal waters to create new usable land. Entire neighborhoods, such as Marina Bay, Jurong Island, and parts of Changi Airport, stand today on what was once open sea. Early projects used imported sand from neighboring countries, but in recent years, Singapore has turned to sustainable methods like using dredged materials, recycled earth, and polder technology, a Dutch-inspired approach that reclaims land below sea level. Every reclaimed hectare is carefully planned for housing, industry, or recreation, reflecting how Singapore transforms scarcity into opportunity. Yet the effort doesn't stop there. With climate change and rising seas, the nation continues to innovate, ensuring that its man-made land remains strong, sustainable, and secure for generations to come. 4. Low-lying terrain, a country almost at sea level. Singapore's landscape may be modern and futuristic, but geographically, it's one of the flattest countries in the world. Most of its land sits just 15 meters above sea level, making it highly vulnerable to the forces of nature. The highest natural point, Bukit Timah Hill, rises modestly to about 164 meters, crowned by dense tropical forest that shelters rare native species. Beyond that, the island's gently undulating terrain slopes toward low-lying coastal areas, where many residential and industrial zones are located. This topography makes the country especially exposed to flooding, storm surges, and sea level rise, challenges intensified by climate change. To defend itself, Singapore has invested billions in infrastructure such as coastal defenses, elevated roads, flood barriers, and an advanced drainage network. Some new developments, like Changi Airport's Terminal 5 and the Tuas Port, are being built on raised ground to future-proof against rising seas. The lesson is clear. On an island where the highest hill barely breaks 500 feet, geography shapes every decision about how to live, build, and survive. 5. Tropical rainforest climate. No real seasons, living in Singapore means living in eternal summer. Because it sits almost directly on the equator, the country experiences a tropical rainforest climate, warm, humid, and rainy all year round. Temperatures typically stay between 25°C and 32°C, 77°C, 90°C, while humidity often hovers around 80%. Rain can fall at any time, though the monsoon seasons from November to January and June to September bring heavier downpours and sudden thunderstorms that can drench the city within minutes. This constant warmth and moisture create lush greenery across the island, from towering rain trees to vibrant orchids, thriving even in urban spaces. However, the same conditions also challenge city planners and architects, who must design buildings that breathe, drain water efficiently, and stay cool. Air conditioning, shaded walkways, and open ventilation are part of daily life. For residents and visitors alike, Singapore's climate feels like stepping into a tropical greenhouse, one where nature and modernity coexist in a delicate, humid balance, with no chilly winters or crisp autumns in sight. 6. Strategic sea routes. The Strait of Malacca and Singapore. Strait Singapore owes much of its success to one undeniable fact: its position on the world's maritime crossroads. Nestled between the Strait of Malacca to the west and the Singapore Strait to the south, the island sits at one of the most strategic points on Earth. These narrow waterways form the main passage connecting the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, carrying nearly one-third of the world's trade each year. From oil tankers to cargo ships, thousands of vessels pass daily, making Singapore's port one of the busiest on the planet. This geography transforms Singapore into a global logistics and financial hub, where goods, people, and ideas converge. Yet it's not just about commerce. The same strategic location also means Singapore must maintain strong maritime security to protect its trade routes from piracy and regional tensions. Its Navy and port authorities operate some of the most advanced surveillance systems in Asia. In short, while Singapore may be small in size, its geography gives it the strength and influence of a giant, a nation perfectly placed where East meets West. 7. Urbanization. Overwhelming the nature. Singapore's transformation from a lush tropical island into a sleek, modern metropolis is one of the fastest in the world. In the early 1800s, dense rainforests, mangrove swamps, and rolling hills covered most of the island. But as the population grew and industries expanded, nature gave way to urban development. Today, nearly every corner of Singapore is planned, from skyscrapers and highways to residential estates and shopping districts. Yet this rapid urbanization didn't erase nature completely. It reshaped it. Natural landscapes were replaced with manicured parks, vertical gardens, and artificial lakes that blend greenery into city life. Iconic spots like Gardens by the Bay, Bukit Timah Nature Reserve, and the Southern Ridges show how Singapore balances progress with preservation. Still, the story is bittersweet. The island's original wilderness survives only in small patches, reminders of what once was. For many in the 35-65 age group, Singapore's skyline is a living symbol of human achievement, proof that geography can be redesigned, but also a gentle reminder that every modern city is built on the bones of nature. 8. Nearly 50% green cover. Garden City. It may be one of the world's most urbanized nations, but Singapore is also one of the greenest. Nearly half of its land area is covered by vegetation, a remarkable feat for a densely populated city-state. This balance between concrete and canopy has earned it the global nickname, the Garden City. From the moment you arrive, greenery greets you everywhere. Towering rain trees lining expressways, rooftop gardens atop office towers, and lush parks woven between apartment blocks. The government's Garden City vision, launched in the 1960s by founding leader Lee Kuan Yew, aimed to soften urban life and make nature part of daily living. Today, that vision has evolved into the city in a garden concept, integrating biodiversity into every corner of urban planning. Singapore's green lungs, places like Botanic Gardens, McRitchie Reservoir, and Gardens by the Bay, aren't just beautiful. They improve air quality, cool the city, and enhance mental well-being. For many older viewers, it's proof that progress doesn't have to destroy nature. It can grow alongside it, leaf by leaf, skyline by skyline. 9. Hills, rocks, and soil, geology and miniature. Though small in size, Singapore holds a surprising variety of geological features packed into its tiny landmass. The island's western and central regions are dominated by hard granite and igneous rocks, with Bukit Timah Hill, the country's highest point, formed from some of the oldest granite on Earth. This area's solid foundation makes it ideal for construction and quarrying, which played a major role in Singapore's early development. In contrast, the eastern and coastal regions consist of softer sandy and alluvial soils, giving them a flatter, more erosion-prone landscape. These differences explain why the west and center are hilly and forested, while the east feels open and level. Beneath the surface, layers of Jurong Formation rocks, sandstone, mudstone, and limestone, reveal a geological history stretching back over 200 million years. For such a small island, this mix of rock types and terrain diversity is extraordinary. It means Singapore is like a miniature geological museum, where you can find the strength of granite, the softness of sand, and the memory of ancient Earth all within a short drive. 10. No large rivers or natural lakes. Water as managed water has always been one of Singapore's greatest challenges and triumphs. Unlike many countries, Singapore has no large rivers or natural lakes to rely on for fresh water. Its few small streams and ponds could never meet the needs of millions of people. Instead of surrendering to geography, Singapore engineered a solution. Over the decades, it built a network of 17 reservoirs that collect rainwater from carefully managed catchment areas, turning much of the island itself into a giant water harvesting system. Even urban drains are designed to channel rainwater into these reservoirs. To further secure its supply, Singapore developed the 4 national taps strategy, drawing water from local catchments, importing from Malaysia, producing new water, recycled, ultra-clean water, and desalinating seawater. These innovations allow the country to thrive without natural rivers, proving that smart planning can overcome nature's limits. For older viewers, this story is more than just engineering. It's a lesson in foresight, resilience, and how a small island can turn scarcity into sustainability through sheer human creativity. 11. Land-sea boundaries with Malaysia and Indonesia. Singapore sits in a fascinating neighborhood, close enough to see another country from its shores. To the north, across the narrow straits of Johor, lies the Malaysian state of Johor, connected to Singapore by 2 causeways, the Johor-Singapore Causeway and the Tuas Second Link. On a clear day, you can literally stand in Singapore and see Malaysia just across the water. To the south, beyond the Singapore Strait, are Indonesia's Riau Islands, with Batam and Bintan being the nearest. This means Singapore rests between 2 giants, Malaysia and Indonesia, yet has maintained its own unique identity, economy, and culture. Its location makes it both a connector and a buffer in Southeast Asia, influencing trade, migration, and even security relations in the region. These close land-sea boundaries also make border management crucial, from customs and bridges to shipping routes and territorial waters. For viewers, it's remarkable to imagine a tiny island nation surrounded by powerful neighbors, yet thriving independently, a living example of how geography can challenge a country and empower it at the same time. 12. Growth through reclamation means coastline. Changing Singapore's coastline tells a story of transformation, a living reminder that geography isn't set in stone. Over the decades, the nation's shorelines have steadily moved outward as the sea made way for reclaimed land. In the 1960s, areas like East Coast, Marina Bay, and Jurong Island looked completely different. What were once fishing villages and open waters are now bustling neighborhoods, gleaming business districts, and industrial powerhouses. Entire new islands, such as Jurong Island and Tekong, were created or expanded through reclamation, reshaping the country's map. Even the famous Marina Bay Sands and Gardens by the Bay sit on land that didn't exist half a century ago. For those who've known Singapore over time, this change is striking. Beaches shifted, coastlines redrawn, and memories of the old shoreline preserved only in photographs. Yet this evolution isn't just about expansion, it's about survival and foresight. In a land-scarce nation, every meter gained from the sea represents space for homes, businesses, and green spaces. Singapore's ever-changing coast proves that while geography begins with nature, it continues with human imagination. 13. Faces water rise, risks, and climate challenges. Singapore's biggest geographical challenge today isn't just space, it's survival against rising seas. As a low-lying island nation, with much of its land barely 15 meters above sea level, Singapore faces serious threats from climate change. Scientists warn that global sea levels could rise by up to 1 meter by the end of the century, a danger that could submerge coastal areas, damage infrastructure, and disrupt daily life. But Singapore isn't waiting for disaster. It's investing billions into coastal defenses, building seawalls, tidal gates, and reclaimed polder, lands designed to stay dry even below sea level. The government has launched the Coastal and Flood Protection Fund, dedicating long-term resources to safeguard the island's future. Green initiatives like planting trees, expanding reservoirs, and reducing carbon emissions are also part of its climate resilience plan. For older viewers, this is more than an environmental issue. It's a powerful lesson in foresight. Singapore's geography gives it beauty and opportunity, but it also demands vigilance. In facing climate challenges head-on, Singapore shows the world that smart planning today can protect a nation for generations to come. 14. Compact size with huge density. Singapore may be small enough to drive across in under an hour, but it's home to over 5.9 million people, making it one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. Packed into just 719 square kilometers, this compact island has more people per square mile than many entire nations. Yet instead of chaos, Singapore thrives on precision planning. The government's Urban Redevelopment Authority, URA, carefully designs every neighborhood, balancing housing, workplaces, parks, and transport links like pieces of a living puzzle. Skyscrapers rise where space is scarce, while underground expressways, shopping malls, and transit lines make the most of what's beneath the surface. Even vertical farming and rooftop gardens are part of the city's strategy to stretch space upward. For older viewers, it's astonishing. An entire nation functioning within an area smaller than some world cities, yet cleaner, safer, and greener than most. Singapore's high density isn't just a challenge, it's a masterclass in living smart, proving that when geography limits you, innovation can set you free. 15. Equatorial latitude makes micro-weather differences. Even on an island as compact as Singapore, the weather isn't the same everywhere. Thanks to its equatorial position, the country experiences warm, humid air year-round, but small variations in elevation, vegetation, and wind direction create subtle microclimates across different regions. For instance, the western and central areas, such as Bukit Timah and Jurong, receive noticeably more rainfall than the eastern parts like Changi or Badok. This happens because the island's central hills act as tiny barriers, causing moist air to rise and cool, a mini version of the rain shadow effect seen in much larger countries. The west tends to be greener and wetter, while the east feels sunnier and drier. Even temperatures can vary slightly, with urban zones being warmer due to the urban heat island effect, where buildings trap and radiate heat. For a small country, these subtle differences are fascinating reminders that geography is alive and dynamic. Every breeze, hill, and cloud pattern helps shape Singapore's unique rhythm, proof that even the tiniest island can hold a world of natural diversity within its borders. Conclusion: a tiny island with a giant story. There you have it, 15 fascinating geography facts about Singapore, each revealing how extraordinary this little island truly is. From its bold land reclamation projects and tropical rainforest climate to its strategic sea routes and ever-changing coastline, Singapore proves that size has nothing to do with significance. Its geography isn't just about land and water. It's about how people have learned to live with nature, shape it, and even rise above its limits. As you reflect, here are three powerful takeaways. Geography shapes destiny. Where we live influences how we survive and thrive. Small can be mighty. Even a tiny island can hold incredible diversity, from granite hills to bustling ports and lush green spaces. The future is geographical. Understanding our environment today helps us prepare for the challenges of tomorrow, from rising seas to sustainable living. So the next time you look at Singapore on the map, remember, it may be small, but it tells one of the biggest stories in the modern world. One of vision, resilience, and the power to create paradise from limitation. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More incredible world stories await you. Until next time, stay curious and take care.